I am excited about all this stuff going on in WWE at the moment. While I understand that there is some worries, now that Vince McMahon has come up and held his hands up, there's no going back. Because if WWE does go back, you're going to destroy the trust of all the fans. We've talked about this, and you may even make me go all negative about pro wrestling, and that could be the end of the world. However, while a lot of things do need fixing, there is one area I want to focus on because it is integral to the process and it could make or break WWE's new era. Why? It wasn't in real slow motion. I just wanted to do it in slow motion because I'm a giant child. Here's why. I teased you long enough, but here is some time for you to make some last-minute guesses. Should it be that WWE has to start building superstars again? Absolutely. Do we need to get rid of 50-50 booking? We do. Should we switch up the format of Raw? Absolutely. But for now, forget all of that. Push that to the left, because over from the right, I want to drag in this. Take the tag team division and make it as good as you possibly can. Now, doing this by itself won't wave the magic wand we're all looking for, but it will act like a huge step forward and I think get some people to open their eyes and go, oh, maybe they are serious about all of this. For years, the tag team division has felt like an afterthought in WWE, and that just seems crazy to me. And I know the rumor has always been, well, Vince McMahon doesn't like the tag team division. Well, there were other murmurings that Vince McMahon also wasn't particularly high on Asuka, and now as I say these words, she's the women's champion on SmackDown, so things can change. The reason it's important is so simple too. If we are going to look at WWE and call it a singles wrestler's territory, well, if all of a sudden I tune in and I see a pair of guys teaming up to take on another pair of guys, well, that's it. It's different. Visually, I'm seeing something new, and that's going to make it feel fresh. And they're like, oh, I wonder what they can do here. Sometimes that is all you need. Win somebody's eyes over, and they may just hang around for a little bit longer than they would otherwise. And if the content is good, if the bread and butter is good, if the depth is good, they'll hang around. You'll please old fans like me, and you'll please new fans that are coming in, and maybe they want something a bit different. You may be surprised by this. If anyone from WWE is watching, if you are, hi, welcome. Always nice to see you. But some people actually prefer tag team wrestling to singles wrestling. I know, they all, oh my gosh, they must be nuts. Because it does have its own unique layout, there's already more things you can do, and this is where we turn our attention to the indie scene and New Japan, because do you know who are some of the most successful wrestlers outside of the walls of WWE? Of course you do, you're already saying it at home, you've probably written a comment before I've even got the words out. It's the Young Bucks. You want to know what they do in the ring? They're a tag team. They pair up together to tag each other to try and win wrestling matches and hopefully win tag team championships. So straight away, the market is there. You can't even argue it. The fans will buy in. Just go and look at some of the merchandise numbers that the Young Bucks hock out there. People love them. New Japan even has an entire event dedicated to their tag team titles. And straight away, that underlines that they're important. We've said this 1,000 times. If the company tells me that I should be invested in something and then backs it up, more often than not, that will just happen naturally. And besides, it's far better than throwing a bunch of tag teams on a pre-show and then getting to the end of that night and going, oh, can you just forget about that result, please? We didn't actually want to do that. So anything that happened over here with the tag teams on the pre-show, you wasted your time. That is like shooting me in the foot. And what seems to have been lost on Raw and SmackDown is that this is an art all by itself. And a great example of that is the Revival. Before they did come to the main roster, they were down in NXT and they were tearing it up. Mixing old school tactics with modern day moves, their frequent tags and cutting off the ring, which also added a psychological and storytelling point of view to a match that you can't do in a singles contest, was as refreshing as it was brilliant. And it was a sign that even within the WWE walls you can pull this off and your audience will accept it. And that's where I get really confused. It's not like people are writing letters, Dear Vince McMahon, I don't like tag team wrestling, please stop it. And even if you did write that letter, Vince McMahon ain't reading it. He's too busy doing whatever it is that he does. It just needs to be focused on. That's it. It's not a big equation. It's not a surprise. It's not a trick. It's not a riddle. Just focus on it and you'll be surprised. I guarantee it. That's right. Vince McMahon used to guarantee things back in the late 90s. Well, now I'm guaranteeing something. If you put your faith in the tag team division, it will guarantee bring you success. I screwed up the grammar there, but I'm just so pumped. And that's what I want now. There are so many good teams on the roster that they will be able to steal any show you put in front of them if you give them the necessary freedom. The Usos, the New Day, the Bar, Sanity, the Good Brothers, the Colognes if you give them a chance. Same with the Ascension, Lucha House Party, and hell, even the B Team. I know their gimmick is comedy, but if when they get into the ring they're all serious, we already know from the past you can pull that off. Kurt Angle made an entire career out of it. Well, not an entire career, but it's certainly how he laid his flag in the sand. If nothing else, it's such a waste of all of these guys, including some I haven't mentioned. They're all talented. They could add so much to Raw and SmackDown. You gotta let them go. You gotta let them be free. You gotta let them off the leash. Build the division. Have feuds that aren't necessarily about the titles, so when it does come to raise someone up and put them in a contendership role, we know more about them. We've seen them have matches and we realise they can kick all the ass. And if nothing else, don't do pissing angles with your tag team title holders. And we haven't mentioned the AOP yet. And that little nugget aside, we know they're really good because again we saw what they did down in NXT. Their ultimate match in the developmental region was brilliant. You can go watch it now. It's on the WWE Network. Talking of everything that is going on down in Florida too, you've got even more proof there within your own infrastructure. Did you hear anybody moaning when Dash and Dawson and DIY were tearing it up and having Match of the Year candidates? No, you didn't. Well, no, there's always someone that complains, but it's 2018 and it's the internet. You're always going to find somebody that complains, but you ignore that person. They're going to whine regardless. Even if Vince McMahon rang them up and said, what do you want? They'll be like, oh, it's the middle of the night. I can't believe you rang me, Vince McMahon. Get off my phone. And they'd hang up. Idiot. The quickest way to show we mean business is by rehabbing this division as quickly as we can and ensuring there's always a little twist we can introduce to a show as and when we see fit. And again, like a lot of these things, it's a lot like the women's revolution, evolution, blah, 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 blah. That is just as good, if not better, than the men's division at the moment, and that's because we gave it time and we allowed it to breathe. It'll be the same here if we're patient, because you've got to reteach the fans what to expect, because you have been telling them for years that no one should care about tag teams, that they all suck, and therefore we don't cheer. You change that, and in a few weeks or in a few months, we'll start to cheer because we'll be happy knowing we're about to see greatness. And as we mentioned the women, I'm guessing in 2019 we are introducing the women's tag team titles. So what better way to tie all of this in than making sure tag team wrestling is good over here, it's good over there, it's good on my head, it's good on the floor, it's good everywhere. Hashtag make tag team wrestling great again, ... in the WWE, ... because it's actually alright everywhere else already, and it's a WWE problem. Scrap the hashtag, it's too long, no one gonna use it. Things do look good, given that the Revival versus Chad Gable and Bobby Roode for the Raw Tag Team Championships that will air, or did air on Christmas Day, depending on when you're watching this, was good. And that is an awesome start. The better matches we do see, the more the trust grows, and so on and so forth. We just went through that. I ain't gonna go through it again. I know you're listening, and I appreciate it. As a pleasant extra on top of this, if you do start making these changes, maybe at some point the Young Bucks decide, oh, we can go to WWE because there's actually a scene for us to thrive in. Because at the moment, let's say they did go in January 2019. What on earth are they gonna do? They're gonna talk to Drake Maverick, all get their, penises out and just wee everywhere? That's literally the biggest tag team angle of the last 12 months. Why would you go when teams haven't main evented a WWE pay-per-view? I don't even know how long. I'll say years, but it could be decades. That is just ridiculous. They would be taking their brand and flushing it down the toilet, which is ironic given the weeing we just mentioned. Also, this whole division is an asset and not a hindrance, so start treating it like the former. I mean, that could have been the entire video if we're completely honest, but that ain't how YouTube works. That is what I want. We'll have to wait and see, but it is why I'm slightly quietly excited that Heavy Machinery were on that NXT call-up list. Like, I don't think you're going to bring somebody up now and job them out, not after what happened on Raw a few weeks ago. That would be ridiculous. I think it may be part of a greater plan, or maybe I'm just being too positive, as I want to do, but if I am right, here it is. Here's the catalyst. Here where things start to breed anew. Also, think about the Bar versus those guys. They'd kick each other's ass. Or the Good Brothers versus those guys. Or the Usos versus those guys. Or the New Day versus those guys. You see? There's momentum here. There's power. But you've got to buy into it. You've got to eat it alive. Like I can't think what you eat. A cow. But kill the cow first or don't, because some people don't like people killing cows. It's not about cows. It's about the tag team division. Let's make it work. Finally, it does also get rid of another problem, because we know how deep the roster is. You've got a bunch of guys and you don't know what to do with them, but you have a tag team division that is absolutely thriving. Push your hands together, make some more teams, and voila, there you go. Also, it means when the Undisputed Era eventually get called up, they're ready to kick ass as well, because Adam Cole can be a singles guy, you can take Kyle O'Reilly and maybe, I don't know, Roderick Strong and make them a tag team, and then Bobby Fish can go off and do something else, but they still remain together and they're greater than the sum of their parts. What we did with the New Day, why can't we do it again here? So nice and simple, WWE, look into my eyes as I'm looking into yours. Rehab that tag team division, bring it back to prominence, make it important, and I guarantee you, there's that word again, people will appreciate it. People may just tune back in. Now don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you think about WWE's tag team division and what it holds in 2019. Like, share and subscribe. Head on over to WhatCulture.com and read yourself some articles. Head on over to Twitter and follow WhatCulture at WhatCulture WWE. And then head back onto WhatCulture Wrestling here on YouTube and watch some more videos, especially because it's the end of the year. It's your downtime. Chill out, pull up a chair, sit your ass in it, and watch some good old-fashioned YouTube content. Isn't old-fashioned at all, only really been around about 15 years. My name is Simon Miller, you have been watching WhatCulture, and as I'm going to do for all of these videos, given that it is the end of 2018, thank you very much for watching throughout the year. I really appreciate it. I've had a great time. I feel like we've got a strong relationship that not even a magic genie himself could stop, and that is how I sleep at night. You take care of yourselves. Salute. I'll see you soon.
Violent energy. Got a little attention. Shooting forward into the knees of Jacob.